Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we'll be continuing our Siege Rework series. We've already spoken about Bretonnia and the vampire counts, but now we're going to talk about one who desperately needs a rework and some extra flavor. I'm of course referring to Norsca. I know it sounds weird, but just stay with me for a minute. So Norsca is one of those interesting race packs for Total War Warhammer, mainly because it was a race pack that was not tied to a specific army book, an extension of the Warriors of Chaos, and a few pieces here and there from different parts of the lore and Warhammer supplements. If I can be honest in saying, the Norsca DLC needs a lot of work. It stands as one of the worst DLCs in the Total War Warhammer franchise. Not as bad as the Beastmen, but you get what I mean. But let's take the time in this video to see what could be fixed for Norsca in both offensive and defensive sieges. Yes, defensive will also have a part to play here, and with that being said, let's start off with defensive. Without being too blunt, Norsca needs, well, settlements, not just wastelands. It absolutely baffles me as to why the men and women of Norsca live in frozen tundra. Where are the huts? Where are the cave systems? Where are everything that we know about them in lore? The Norscans themselves are known to have different types of settlements. Some of them have even moved into abandoned fortresses and castles and repurposed them for their own uses. Not just one or two Norscans, but a whole tribe. If you've read any of the Norscan lore books, such as Wulfric's, you'll know that they have these forts, and it makes sense for Norsca. This is a place that is incredibly tainted with chaos corruption. The majority of the monsters there would be out to kill them, so obviously they'd have to build up some defenses. Perhaps the minor settlements, when building up and eventually getting walls, could have some form of wooden palisades that will act exactly the same way as walls but be easier to destroy. Whereas the provincial capitals would have stone walls and work exactly the way as intended for all future stone-walled settlement. If you've seen anything Viking related on TVs or in games, you'll more or less get what I mean, but this is rather important I believe, as Norsca is not fun at the moment. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, they've not been fun since, well, probably Warhammer 1. With the Mortal Empires being so big right now, and I'm assuming that the next map for Warhammer 3 is going to be even bigger, it's going to be quite difficult to defend these regions when you're being attacked from multiple sides. It already is. Not to mention the fact that, of course, Norsca needs a very heavy rework overall. It's very difficult to play as them, and worse so to have fun. But I believe that some defensive walls will at least make the campaign a lot more bearable for Norsca players. At least, you know, you won't have to worry about random armies appearing and taking your settlements without laying siege to it. Especially since Norsca can't really build in other locations outside of Norsca, barring, of course, very famous capitals. That should be changed too, but that's a topic for another day, and I don't want to go on an hour-long rant. Honestly, I think that's all that's needed for a defensive side for a Norsca siege rework, just actually giving them access to sieges. But now let's look towards the offensive part, where they already do fairly well. A army of Norscan marauders and a few monsters can do decent enough. Though this is a army focused around infantry and monsters, meaning that they rush the gate, they break down the gate, and then the usual mosh pit begins. So what's the issue there? Well, it's kinda boring, isn't it? It's the same old over and over again. Some options or some changes here and there would be nice. And let's start looking at some that I think might work for Norsca. Norsca monsters need to be able to break down enemy walls. This will allow you to smash down areas in multiple locations and hopefully divide up your enemy. In Warhammer 8th Edition's expansion known as Blood in the Badlands, you were able to do this with big monsters such as giants and so on, as they were able to knock down walls with a small upgrade. The Norscan giant and the war mammoth would be perfect to be able to attack walls, though size-wise they are kinda small, so maybe they do a reduced form of damage. What could be done is the implementation of a Chaos Siege Giant. And yeah, I know that a lot of you have just sighed from even just hearing that, but hear me out once again. The Siege Giant was implemented for the Chaos Dwarfs in 8th edition through the Tamukan book. And as you can expect from the name, it is built for siege warfare, mainly for going in and destroying walls. If Norsca is going to continue to follow the route of discount Warriors of Chaos, they might as well get something which they can use to knock down walls. Another big monster does work rather well with their roster. And since we are going to see the Chaos Dwarfs sooner or later, it's only a matter of time until we see the Chaos Siege Giant, at least that's my reasoning, so they might as well give that unit to the Norscans too. Next is to be able to allow monstrous infantry such as skin wolves and ice trolls to climb atop of walls. This not only works offensively but defensively too. By comparison, these monsters really aren't that big and should be able to fit up there no problem. I think it would be kinda interesting to see monsters like that be able to climb onto the walls themselves, as it kinda makes sense for stuff like skin wolves who are inherently feral and would likely be able to do so. Like I said, the creatures themselves aren't really that big, so it's likely that they would be able to climb up the walls to be able to hunt down any prey. Lastly, and I'd say this from a pure lore perspective, remove the vigor loss reduction from them climbing up ladders. Lore-wise, the Norscans themselves have incredible stamina. They're a race that moves quite quickly, and they're a race known to be raiders, so if they're going into territories to go sack a settlement and so on, it's likely that they're going to be able to run and move around for quite a lot of time. I'd say that the vigor loss reduction would be beneficial for Norscans to be able to climb on walls with ladders, as yes, you do have access to siege towers, but they can be targeted, so something like this could allow for the Norscans to feel more like Norscans. It's just a small quality of life change there that they wouldn't get too tired from climbing up the ladders, but I think it would actually help out a little bit. These are just some basic ideas. In truth, Norsca needs a lot of help, not just for sieges, but just in everything else. I really do hope that they get a much needed facelift, as well, they've been kinda horrible for a while. And honestly, when it comes to me suggesting Norsca to people, it's usually don't play them unless you're using mods. But what do you guys think about my ideas for Norsca and a potential siege rework? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion. I'm curious to see if you guys have any other ideas too. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fame level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.